F3500 A race car in VR. Hello there everybody and welcome to a special race here at Oprafed Gaming. I am the Oprafed. We are driving a F3500 Formula 1 race car in a special race called the F3500 One Make. We're driving it at the Yas Marina Circuit. We're doing 5 laps. We start at 10th of 10 and we started with a rolling start. Now this particular track is fast becoming one of my very favorite tracks to race, and I tell you, this has probably got to be the coolest race I've ever ran. Now let me explain. I did have to race it a few times because I wasn't very familiar with it and I wasn't very good at driving these really fast cars, and I kept spinning out in the first lap or in the third lap, and finally I was able to finish the race, and I think I did quite well. But it's an absolutely awesome race to drive in. Now, we're only doing 5 laps, and with these cars going a bazillion miles an hour, it's not going to take long. They're decent length laps, but we're just going way too fast. And we got to pass 9 cars. Now, that's a tough and tall order for the Oprafed, especially when you're not really used to driving these really fast cars. But we're going to give it our best shot. So, with 9 cars to pass in 5 laps, you've got to pass a couple of cars per lap if you want to stay with the main pack. But these cars are spread out pretty good, and they really go. They slow down like crazy in front of you sometimes for corners, and it almost looks like they're trying to get you to slow down, but it isn't going to work because the Oprafed gets right by them anyhow. We keep right up to them, and we cut them on the inside and get past them. But they're not all that easy. And like I said, the cars are kind of spread out on the track, so when you get past the first couple slow ones, the next one is quite a ways away from you, and you really have to hammer down. You cannot wait. When you have a straight section, again like this one here, you have to wait till you come out of the corner, or you will spin out, and then just hammer down on the straight sections as much as you can. And even doing that, it's really tough to pass these guys, and it's really tough to win this race as they come shooting back by you like that. But then they break, and they're just not fast enough around the corners, I guess. But on the straights, like right here again, it's really tough to try and catch up to the next guy. You know, it's a really difficult race to try and win. But that's not going to deter the Oprafed. We're going to keep trying and go as fast as we can around these corners. Like I said, I got spun out a few times around some of these corners, and they're really hard. You got to know exactly where to brake and slow down, and you got to wait until you're out of the corner before you speed up. If you don't wait long enough, you start doing donuts in the middle of the track, and your race is over. Because I tried it a few times where I spun out, got back on the track and started racing again, and it just wasn't much good. You're going to be too far behind. Now we're just finishing our second lap, and one of the first things I usually like to try and advise people on, and it's not so much of a problem in this particular race because we don't have to fuel up. But when you're driving on a track like the Yas Marina Circuit, a lot of times you're doing 10 laps and you have to go in for fuel. So it's good to know where the pit stop entrance is and where the exit is. So even when you don't have to go in, if you can practice this on a regular basis, then you won't get caught, you know, being out on the track and for missing the pit stop. Now when we get close to the pit stop, I'll let you know. But there's a couple of overhangs over top of the track. Not this one coming up, but there's a few overhangs that kind of, I use them as a point of reference to tell me when the end of the lap is coming up. And it's getting close. Now we're still passing cars, and the weird thing is that once you get to a position like this, there's no cars on the track, and you think you might be first, but you're not. So keep racing as hard as you can. Now that first overhang that I was talking about is right here. When I see this, then I know that my lap is almost done. Then we get another overhang right here, and after that, we're almost at the end. And the pit stop entrance is just right here on the right hand side. Now, once you go by the grandstand here, the pit stop, I don't know how it's situated, but the exit track goes underneath the racetrack. And it comes out on the left-hand side, just up ahead here, right about there. So you got to make sure you know that, because when you come out, you want to know if you can hammer down or if you're going to have a corner coming up right away. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what's going to happen when you come out of the pit stop. A lot of things that I never used to think about when I first started racing, but slowly you get better over time and you add things to the knowledge bank that you've got about racing, and you get a little bit better. Now, we are in our 4th lap here, and it's almost coming to an end, and we've been chasing what I believe is the lead cars, and I believe that there's only 2 left. But they're quite a ways ahead of us still, and we've only got 1 lap and a little bit to go. So every time when we're on the straights and around a corner, we catch up a little bit, but I got to slow down on the corners, and then they zip away. And it's really, really difficult to catch these 2 front runners. But we're going to do our best as we're coming around these corners. We're getting a little bit closer, but that doesn't mean that you're going to win, because some of these here corners, you can't pass them on the corners. It's almost impossible. And the straights are really difficult too, because they're as fast as you are. So it's a fight to get to them. But we're starting to get a little bit closer to that guy in the back. And he zips away again as we're starting our final lap. Well, I tell you, this race is just absolutely fantastic. Fast, and not wild, but fast, just really fast. And it's hard to concentrate when you're driving it at home. Now, I'm driving it in VR. When you're doing that, it's almost like you're in the race car itself. It's absolutely the coolest. I cannot say it enough. So this is one of our final long straight stretches, one of them, that we can catch these guys on. There's a couple more, but we're starting to get a little bit closer, but we're probably about halfway through the lap already. And now we're getting into those back and forth a little bit too, and you can't pass them. It's almost, like I said, it's almost impossible. But we're not going to give up until we see the final checkered flag. I tell you, it's absolutely fantastic. Anyhow, we are almost at the end of the race. I really enjoyed this one, and I hope you did too. Hopefully maybe you picked up a few pointers, and if you just came to watch just for the fun of it, so much the better. I mean, we are doing this just for the fun and enjoyment, so I hope you loved it. Anyhow, until the next time, you've been racing at the Yas Marina Circuit. Got by that one. Ooh, and almost lost control with me, the Overfed.